Hey, Shalom, Shalom. When the start off souls, but giving no praise to Yahweh, Shem, El Shah, Shem, Kakodash. Double honors the apostles of GMS and honors you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and sincerity. Right, this one is inspired. I was watching Apostle Gabar earlier on, and was doing a video, touching on the Apocrypha, and that all in itself was a response to Elder Slug. I forget the elder's name. What do you call him? I'm struggling to pronounce it. But it was a very edifying video, so I watched it, and everything, and basically it came up to this point. It says from King James Bible Online.org, right? That website, and it basically had a bit there on the Apocrypha, right? Like a preface says the Apocrypha is a selection of books which were published in the original 1611 King James Bible. Right, these apocryphal books, Manataza, it's getting on me because it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't say the elder's name. Slut. So these apocryphal books were positioned between the Old and New Testament. It also contained maps and genealogies, right? The Apocrypha was a part of the King James Version for 274 years until being removed in 1885, right? So it was part of the King James Version Bible, for longer than it was that it's not been out there, because 1885, that makes it 15, gives us 1900s, 135 years it's been out of the King James Version. Right now, when you the story of the King James, right at the beginning of it says, roughly paraphrasing, that it was diligently what do you call it, was diligently translated, right, from the original tongues, right? From the Greek and from the Hebrew, right? When you read the preface of the King James, the letters of the writers, or something like that. So basically, implying that it's been a part of the Bible, forever, right? But it's only in these last 135 years, right, that the Apocrypha hasn't been a part of of the Bible, right? You go into, you look into why this, that, and the other, right? But what this video is all about is it's tackling this point here. It says many claim that the Apocrypha should never have been included in the first place, right? Raising doubt about its validity and believing it was not God inspired, right? And you gotta understand, like, starting with the apostles on down, we're the authority on this, right? We're the ones that have been given the spiritual eye to say, whether it's something is canonical or not, which is why, for instance, the scriptures talk about the book of Jasher, right? But what did the Apostle Paul do a video on the other day? He says, don't read the book of Jasher, right? Because the one that they got there, right, is it ain't right. It's going off, right? So let me grab this precept real quick before it escapes my mind. This is Amos 3 and 7. Right, it says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Right, so the son of the apostles on down, man. Right, we're the ones that have been given the understanding of these scriptures, right? So we're the ones who are able to look and say, well, the book of Jasher, that's not canonical. That ain't right, right? And we're the ones that are able to then go and say, well, the Apocrypha, does it add up? Yep, adds up. So yeah, that's cool, right? And as you saw there, I've got Tobit 6 open, and that's because it says here, it says, for instance, a reference about magic seems inconsistent with the rest of the Bible. Tobit chapter 6 verses 5 to 8, right? So then, naturally, I saw that. I was like, okay, cool, because, I've read the book of Tobit before, and, nothing is particularly stood out. So I was like, cool, let me read it again, right? So this is Tobit 6 and 5, right? It says, so the young man did as the angel commanded him, and when he had roasted the fish, they did eat. Then they both went on their way till they drew near Ecbatane. Then the young man said to the angel, brother Azarias, To what use is the heart and the liver and the gall of the fish? Then he said unto him, touching the heart and the liver, if a devil or an evil spirit trouble any, we must make a smoke thereof before the man or the woman, and the party shall be no more vexed. Right, and in fact, because I forgot to load it up. Let me load it up now. Right, and you're gonna see it's a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Yeah, I'll just do the word search, and then so you don't know what the spoiler is, right? It says, touching the heart and the liver, if a devil and evil spirit trouble any, we must make a smoke thereof before the man or the woman, and the party shall be no more vexed. Right? And as for the goal, it is good to anoint a man that hath whiteness in his eyes, and he shall be healed. Right? So I was reading that, I was like, oh, is that it? You saying that this here is magic, right? You read about you burning something, right, and then that's gonna ward off evil spirits. It's like, well, yeah, just like how when the Most High, and I'll jump to that real quick. All right, Genesis 8:21 says, and the Lord Yahweh smelt a sweet savor, right? And the Lord said in his heart, I will not. Let me read this, right? Verse 20 says, and Noah builded an altar unto Yahweh, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar, right? So burnt offerings, right? Something that's goes up to the most, makes a smell. It says, and Yahweh smelled a sweet savor, and Yahweh said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more everything living as I have done. Right? So here you're basically seeing that Noah basically made a burnt offering, and that burnt offering smelled good. Around the Most High liked it. Yahweh, he says here, Yahweh smelled a sweet savor. So it was like, yo, I like this, right? And then when you look into the incense that was burnt, that was made of certain particular, ingredients, right? And there's even one account where it's basically saying that that there's certain a perfume, certain incense that is burned, you ain't allowed to wear it. Right? If you wear it, right, you get dealt with, man. Right? That particular mixture of ingredients that was only to be used as part of the sacrifice, right? So smells and burning incense, right? That is that is something that the Lord likes, right? So then made me think, so the Lord likes it, so what would this have done? Now we know burning would you call it, you burn incense or whatever you want to get in the spirit, doing a video, right? But also in terms, it says here to ward off evil spirits, right? So would jump down here, right? This is First Samuel 16, right? I'll jump to the point, right? It says, and it came to pass when the evil spirit from the Most High was upon Saul, that David took an harp and played with his hand, and so Saul was refreshed, right? I said what, and it goes and say, and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. Right? So what's this saying on here? This is basically saying that David played, King David, right, played the harp, right? He played certain melodies, right? And then the evil spirit departed from King David. Right now, however, you think of Pan, right? What do you call it? Pan, the quote God, right? On the left hand side, what does he do? He plays music, right? He plays the flute, and what does that do? That entices people, right? Puts them under a spell. So that's basically showing you can do one thing on the left hand side, and you can do the same thing, but you're doing it on the right hand side, right? For instance, we pray, that's righteous, but the elites, they pray as well, but they're praying to Satan, so that's wickedness, right? So here, this is showing you that there's certain things that you can do, certain carnal things, right? In the flesh, right? That you could, well, I say carnal, but certain things that you can do in the flesh, right? That can ward off these spirits, man, that are around you, right? And this here, what we're reading here in Tobit 6 is an example of that, right? And then we're going to jump to to chapter 8, right? This is Tobit 8 and 1. It says, when they had supped, they brought Tobias in unto her. And as he went, he remembered the words of Raphael and took the ashes of the perfumes and put the heart and the liver of the fish thereupon and made a smoke therewith, the which smell when the evil spirit had smelled. He fled into the utmost parts of Egypt and the angel bound him, right? So basically, this evil spirit, man, it didn't like that smell. That smell was sort of like a curse unto it, and it basically departed, man. It left, right? Is there any witchcraft involved in that? No. Just what's so difficult to understand? There's certain things you do to ward off evil spirits, right? Like I said, we just gave this example here. Now, with King David, once again, it says here in this instance, music is being used to move, to basically what's the word I'm looking for, to remove the evil spirit from King Saul, right? However, there, people on the left hand side, what they do, they use music to put spells on people, right? So if this particular scripture was in the Apocrypha, they'd use this as an example of, that was magic. He was doing magic, right? Because that's a similar sort of argument. It's the same level of argument, right? So we read that, right? And then, and I'll end on this as well, right? And this was brought up by the elder Manataza Dagba. Forgive me, forgive me. So yeah, just to get back on the context, right? So in Tobit 6 and 8 it says, as for the gold, it is good to anoint a man that hath whiteness in his eyes, and he shall be healed, right? So this is John 9 and 6 says, when he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle and anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay and said unto him, go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent, right? He went his way therefore and washed and came seeing, right? So basically, what was done there, that was Yahushua basically making something and telling the man to go do something, and then that man received his eyesight, man. Right. Once again, if this was in the Apocrypha, these these unlearned, right, would start making that same argument of like, oh, but that's magic. It's not magic. That's just the way the Lord decided to heal this individual in this particular time, right? But yeah, as always, laws all that was edifying. I hope the point's been made, right? Ain't no magic here, man. This ain't no witchcraft or anything, man. Right? This is just Esau being Esau, right? And as the Apostle Kabal was going into, right, they needed something to discredit the Apocrypha with, right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, if you want to say this is magic, right? So how come you just didn't leave out the Book of Tobit? Why take out the entire Apocrypha? Right? We'll tell you why. And like I said, this ain't no magic, man. Right? It's just Esau being the damn devil. It was around by here, innit? Right, this is First Maccabees 1 and 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied on the earth. Right? It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks, right? Now this is what's basically being said here is that these Greeks are wicked, man, right? They're wicked, and Esau can't be having that. He can't be having people, because they, venerate these particular individuals, right? But the Apocrypha gets on them, right? So that's why they basically use that as one fell swoop to take it all out, man, right? But once again, as always, Lord's all that was edifying. Wait, hang about. There's I'm trying to I forget where it is, but the account of the dedication, right, of the temple which Yahushua kept, right. That's in the Maccabees, man, right. So hey, to close in closing, right, the Maccabees is not the word they use there. It's deuterocanonical, right. It's not, would you in fact, what does that word even mean? Let's see. Right. Deuterocanonical means second canon in Greek, right? So actually, no, it's not me. So let me take that back. So it's why you got to look at the words and understand the words, right? But basically, so it says when they say many claim the Apocrypha should never been included in the first place. Well, no, they're going off, man. The Apocrypha, what do you call it, has its place in the scriptures, right? And the ultimate authority on earth at the moment, which is the apostles, right? The ultimate authority on this, they give the green light to read the Apocrypha. So we go and read the Apocrypha, man, right? Esau, you ain't the authority on this. In fact, this is Psalms 50 and 16, right? It says, "But unto the wicked the Most High saith, What hast thou to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth?" Right? So Esau ain't got no reason touching these scriptures, man. You ain't got no say on these scriptures, man. Right? And hey, the Apocrypha, man. You read the Book of Sirach. The Book of Sirach has a lot of wisdom, man, right? How to live your daily life, right? Certain little things. I remember when I was first coming in, there was a guy, and he wanted to, we kind of came in together, but Spirit had it whereby, he never made it, right? And basically he asked me one time, I was like, yo, man, there's this girl, she's got a man, right? But I ain't really feeding her like that. But she invited me to go over to her house or something. It was something like that, man, right? And it was like Sarant 9 man, sitting on a tour with another man's wife, right? Because why? That's the kind of wisdom. That's how you. Because what does the scripture say? It says it talks about committing adultery, man. Right, and that particular scripture in Surah 9 tells you that, look, man, yeah, you spending time with another man's wife. This is what's gonna happen, man. Right? You go out with her, you drink, and then it takes one smile, man. And hey, you know what I'm talking about. When you've encountered a woman that's single, right? And then you're courting her or whatever, and then you both smile at each other and you laugh and you give each other them eyes, and then oh, I'm fucking tonight, right? That's basically what that scripture is saying. It's like, look, man, don't be doing that, lest you end up basically doing that. But this isn't a single woman now. This is a woman that's already got a man, and then look, now you're going down and committed adultery. Right? This book of Sirach has a load of those types of things, man, of wisdoms rather, right? But yeah, the Apocrypha is part of the scriptures. I know I've been trying to close this video for the last couple of minutes now. But Lord's all that was edifying. And as always, to the next time, Shalom.